The lantern keeper. The lantern was still burning when they found the boat adrift, empty save for a child's red scarf and a single word carved into the oar: return. Elias Granger hadn't seen the sea in 15 years. Not since the night the tide rose high enough to swallow his sister. The lighthouse failed, and the storm tore through Whitby Hollow like a wound never stitched. He'd buried the memories with his compass, swore he'd never return. But now the town was calling him back, with a letter bearing no signature, just 3 words: the keeper sleeps. The road into Whitby Hollow was narrower than he remembered, the trees clawing overhead, the wind muttering secrets through the pines. His headlights flickered as the fog thickened, curling like breath from unseen mouths. He tried the radio. Static. The moment he passed the "Welcome to Whitby" sign, the engine sputtered and died. Elias exhaled slowly and got out. The town looked like something out of an old photograph. Timber-framed houses sagging with age, shutters trembling in the sea wind. Salt clung to every surface, as if the ocean had cried over everything and no one had dared to wipe the tears away. He walked. The old inn was still standing. Barely. Windows boarded. The door ajar. The bell above the frame gave a reluctant chime as he pushed inside. Looking for shelter or something else? Came a voice from the shadows. An old man with a milky eye emerged, his coat stitched with seaweed patterns and a smell of brine thick around him. Elias stared. "I'm here about the lighthouse," he said. The man's good eye narrowed. "That light's been dead for a decade. Nobody dares go up there." Then someone better explain why it was lit 2 nights ago. The innkeeper didn't answer at first. Just turned and gestured toward the bay window. Elias stepped closer. Through the glass high on the cliff the lighthouse blinked once, dim yellow, dying. But, Elias started. "No one keeps that flame anymore," the innkeeper said. "Unless something woke it." That night Elias didn't sleep. The wind scratched at the shutters. The floor creaked with the weight of old ghosts. At 3:17 a.m. the lighthouse blinked again. And with it a memory returned. His sister Iris, barefoot on the rocks, arms spread like wings, whispering, "Do you hear it? The sea's singing tonight." He rose before dawn and climbed the cliff path. The lighthouse loomed like a skeletal finger, its once white paint stained green with moss and time. The iron gate groaned open. The smell inside was stronger than he remembered: oil, rust, salt, and something older, something earthy. He climbed. The steps moaned with each footfall. Halfway up he found the lantern room door ajar. The flame burned low inside. But the room was empty. No keeper. No logs. No tools. Only a mirror, old and tarnished, leaning in the corner. As Elias stepped closer the flame flickered, and the mirror's surface rippled. For a heartbeat he saw her. Iris. Older. Standing just behind him. He spun. Nothing. Just the sea screaming below. Elias stumbled back from the mirror, heart pounding, eyes scanning the empty lantern room. The flame crackled faintly, casting shadows that shifted against logic. Too slow, too fluid. He touched the glass. But beneath the surface something pulsed. A rhythm. A breath. As if the mirror itself were alive and waiting. He descended in a rush, boots echoing against the metal steps. The air grew thicker the lower he went, heavy with moisture and the copper tang of forgotten time. Outside the wind howled. The sea below frothed angrily against the cliffs, and the clouds thickened into a bruise-colored sky. Back in town people watched him. Not openly. Not curiously. Fearfully. He returned to the inn where the innkeeper was pouring salt across the threshold. Why was her name in the mirror? Elias asked. The man didn't look up. Because the lighthouse remembers what we try to forget. You know something. The old man hesitated. Your sister wasn't the first the sea took. She wasn't taken, Elias snapped. She vanished. There's no difference, not here. He finished the salt line. The hollow's been haunted since the night the first keeper broke the pact. What pact? The man stared at him now, voice low. There's a reason the light never dies. Every generation one soul watches the flame. Keeps it burning. Keeps them below. Them. But the innkeeper was already retreating into silence. Elias left at dusk. The sky bled orange as he walked the crumbling shore path toward the northern bluff, the place where Iris had disappeared. He hadn't gone back there since that night. The rocks were still jagged. The tide still hungry. He found a shape beneath the cliff. A twisted remnant of the boat they'd built together as children. Half rotten. Covered in barnacles. The red scarf still tied around the stern post. It hadn't faded. He took it in shaking hands. It was dry. Something moved behind him. He turned. A figure stood just at the edge of the tide. Barefoot. White dress clinging in the sea wind. Iris. The figure didn't answer. Elias stepped forward. The waves rolled in but the figure didn't retreat. Then she smiled. A sad strange smile. I waited, she said, voice distant as if spoken through a dream. You left me there. You vanished. You let them take me. I didn't know. I searched. The hollow doesn't give back what it keeps, she whispered. He blinked. She was gone. The scarf dropped from his hands, soaked in salt. That night the mirror called again. He returned to the lighthouse, guided by the pulse of its dying flame. The mirror was darker now. The glass cloudy. Shapes moved behind it, children, women, men. Eyes closed. Hands pressed to the surface from within. They were dreaming. Trapped. Iris was among them. He raised a hand to the mirror. Tell me what to do. A single word appeared in the fogged glass. Descend. He searched the tower. Beneath the rusted grates behind the old oil drums he found it. A door in the floor bolted and sealed in wax. He pried it open. A staircase spiraled down into darkness. The air smelled of mildew and stone but beneath it something else. A sweetness sickly and wrong. He lit a lantern and began to descend. The stone grew colder. The light flickered. Voices whispered along the walls. Not words but impressions. Laughter. Screams. His own name. Elias. 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 The steps ended in a chamber hewn from rock. At its center stood a pool of ink-dark water, still as glass. Around it 6 mirrors. Each contained a face. Each wept. And floating above the pool, suspended by nothing, was a lantern. The flame inside was blue. Iris, he called. No answer. But the mirrors trembled. A shape moved in the water. Something vast. Watching. Waiting. The flame inside the lantern sputtered once and the room went black. The dark was not empty. It breathed. Elias stood frozen, lantern extinguished, shadows pressing in from every side. He could feel the stone under his boots but it no longer felt solid. It pulsed, like something beneath it stirred at his arrival. Then one by one the mirrors flickered to life again. Faces moved behind them, not memories, not illusions. Souls. Real and watching. Trapped like fireflies behind glass. And Iris was among them. She didn't cry. She looked at him with something deeper. Understanding. Grief. He stepped toward her mirror, reaching out. But the pool between them rippled. The water swirled and from its depths something rose. First a hand. Then a face. A reflection but not his own. It was twisted. Familiar. And smiling with a mouth too wide and eyes too empty. It spoke without sound, words inside his head like cracked ice. You are the last. Light or drown. Elias stumbled back, heart hammering. He looked at Iris's reflection, then the others. 6 faces. 6 keepers? 1 for each mirror. 1 for each soul bound to the flame. The lantern above the pool flickered again, revealing for a moment the carvings along its iron frame, names etched in a spiral. All the way to the bottom. And the final name unfinished. Elias Dur. He understood then. The pact. Each keeper burned the flame. Each kept the dead in their place. And when their time ended they did not leave. They joined the lantern. The town had never buried its dead. They had chained them here. He should have run. But something deeper, older, moved in him now. A memory buried in blood. His sister's hand slipping from his on the cliff's edge. Her scream swallowed by waves. And the moment he turned away, convinced she was lost, was the moment the pact failed. He hadn't just let her die. He had abandoned the flame. The pool stilled. And she spoke not from the mirror but from within him, her voice soft as falling ash. Finish what we began. He climbed. Back up the stair. Back through the hollow tower. Through the wind and the rot and the years of silence. At the top he found the mirror again. But it had changed. Now it held only one face. His. He approached. and as his reflection reached back, their fingers met and passed through. The flame behind the glass flared. And so did his memory. He saw the night Iris vanished not as a boy, panicked, confused, but as it truly was. She had not fallen. She had stepped into the sea willingly, whispering to something beneath. She was the pack's offering. But he had broken it. And so she had become its prisoner. Unless. He turned to the lantern. And lit the wick. A blaze of white fire filled the tower, brighter than the sun, tearing across the coast like a siren's scream. Windows shattered across Whitby Hollow. Salt crystallized in midair. And then, silence. When Elias opened his eyes, he was standing inside the mirror. But the flame still burned. Outside, in the waking world, the lantern in the tower glowed steady and true. The pact was restored. And he had taken the keeper's place. In the years that followed, the lighthouse stayed lit. No more disappearances. No more voices in the surf. But sometimes, on fog-heavy nights, travelers swear they see a man in the lantern room, holding a red scarf in one hand, watching the sea with a gaze neither mournful nor angry, only patient. And if you stand close enough long enough, you might hear him whisper. Not to you, but to someone far below.